Welcome back. We to preview the game on the final weekend of the Premier League season between Everton and Tottenham Hotspur. Basically, I'll start with the away side. Been on a poor run of form, but did have a good win against Hull last time out.
Yeah, they'd only picked up 1 point from the previous out of the previous 9 in their previous 3 games. So, they've been on a bad run, like you say. But yeah, decent win at home to Hull. They've had some poor home results all season. I remember earlier on in the season they lost to likes of West Brom and Stoke, and their last 2 home games before this one were 1-0 defeats to Aston Villa and Man City. So yeah, decent win for them, especially as you think Hull, they went into that knowing, they probably needed to win to give themselves a real chance of staying up. So solid win to keep a clean sheet. Goals from Nathan Chadley and Danny Rose. For Chadley especially, that's 11 goals this season for him. He's been one of their probably biggest surprises this season in terms of, you look at their best players. Obviously Kane been the standout in terms of his breakout season. Eriksen's had his moments, but Chadley's been pretty consistent all season long. For him to get into double figures, that's very impressive from him. And so I don't think anyone really saw that coming. You would have looked at the likes of Eriksen and some other players as well. But I think Chadley's certainly impressive season for him. And yeah, Spurs, it's a decent win for them. But on the whole, you look at their whole season, it's been another sort of average one. Pochettino's done some good things, but they've gone slightly backwards as well. So not a bad campaign.
You mentioned they've gone slightly backwards. Obviously, they finished 6th last season, got 69 points last season, sitting 6th at the moment, 61 points. So obviously, even if they win this game, they're going to fall at least 5 short of that. So it's difficult to see. Like I said, they're guaranteed top 7 this season, which has not been too surprising. The top 7 have been set in stone for quite a while now, haven't they? But it depends what you see. Do they want to finish 7th maybe and hopefully miss out in the Europa League? It's well known they don't want to play in it next season. But see, Southampton go to Manchester City. Southampton sitting 7th at the moment. That's difficult to see them winning there. Liverpool sitting in 5th at the moment. Liverpool 2 points above Spurs at the moment. Liverpool go to Stoke. That's a tough game. If they don't, you could easily see all 3 losing, as it's staying exactly how it is. And obviously 6th would guarantee a spot in the Europa League. 7th depends on the cup final between Villa and Arsenal. So that's it. It's guaranteed top 7 Europa League. Spurs want to push for the top 4, but you just wonder. The greatest will in the world, they give young players a chance, but when you look at their centre midfield of Bentaleb and Mason, is that good enough to push into the top 4? They're decent young players, but not for me. Need a lot of strengthening, and it wouldn't be surprising to again see them finishing 6th, 5th next season. If they finish 5th, that's okay. It's quite a decent season actually, more than okay. To be fair, if they finish 7th, it's they might miss out in the Europa League. So 6th, if they finish 6th, I think all teams. I don't think either of those teams are going to win on the final day of the season. So I think it could stay as it is, and like I say, it's been another mediocre season.
I think even if they do drop to 7th, I think they probably will get in the Europa League. You wouldn't pick Villa to win the cup final really. I mean, they did brilliantly to beat Liverpool in the semis, but I think Arsenal will win the cup final, and 5th, 6th, and 7th will get a Europa League spot. And yeah, like I say, it's disappointing. But when when you compare them to, you look at the sides in the top 4 now, you would say they are the 4 biggest clubs in terms of spending. Chelsea, City, Arsenal, and United. So for Spurs to break into those top 4, it'd be really hard for them because Liverpool there as well. And you expect maybe Everton to get a bit better next year, and I think Everton should be maybe as good as Spurs next year. They improve like we think they should. But looking at Spurs, I think they haven't ended the season. A player specifically who hasn't ended the season very well is Harry Kane. Fantastic for a good sort of 4 or 5 months. Sort of in the middle part of the season, but he hasn't scored in over a month now. And certainly think there's talk about him being a little burned out, and that we weren't sure if he was going to be called up to the England under 21 squad. He has now been called up by Gareth Southgate. So. Interesting move there from Southgate because it's not like he's finishing the season well. He does look a little burned out, and that's what Pochettino was a little bit worried about. He didn't want him to go away to this tournament and then get even more burned out and then be maybe hampered for next season. But he's been named in the provisional. I think it's 27-man squad. That gets cut to 23 soon. So if he's included in the 23 and does go, I think he should go. I think it's quite an exciting squad England have got there for the European Championships. And I think there's a lot of good players in there. I think if Kane can lead the line, certainly fire them to maybe a good finish in the tournament. I think it'd be certainly good for our international football, big tournament like that. But will that affect him for Spurs? We don't know.
It depends. We'll see. Big summer's always been talking of a move away. I don't think that really transpire, but it's a big season for him next season. Everyone knows about the second season syndrome, etc. Moving on to Everton. I'd say we've talked about it quite a lot. It's been a mediocre season in general, pretty much like Spurs. Obviously worse than that because they're sitting below in the table. But last time out, had a good win at West Ham. West Ham went 1-0 up. West Ham, a team that been banging out of form as well, to be fair. But to go to Upton Park is always difficult, especially when West Ham take the lead because they are that type of team. And Everton came back, got the goal from Osman, the equaliser. Then late on, Lukaku gets the winner. I think it was almost the final kick of the game, right in stoppage time to get the win. So I think that's a really good win, I'd say, to finish the season because they had lost 2 before that. They went that really good run, didn't they, where they beat Manchester United, among others, and then lost a couple of games, disappointingly. But to go to West Ham last time out and win, I think if they'd have lost that game, going to the final game of the season, the atmosphere would have been a bit down. But reason to be positive for Everton, like I say, you fancy them to be up there next season because they've got a really good squad, and if they start well, they should be up there. It'll be a big summer and good win last time out. Final home game should be decent atmosphere.
Yeah, I think we talked about Ashley Williams saying that the sort of Europa League can really affect your performance in the Premier League, and it's certainly been the way with Everton this season. Fifth last season, 72 points. They had a great campaign last term, and sitting down in 10th. They want to finish in the top half for sure. I think they'll certainly want to, especially as the final game of the season at home. They want to give the fans something to cheer about on the final day of the season. I think it talks about Lukaku there. That goal against West Ham, that was his 10th of the season, so they got him into the double figures, but just 10 in 35 Premier League appearances this season. Not really good enough when you look at what he got last season. He had a much better sort of goals to game ratio last season, and this season there was a bit more pressure on him because they'd made the move permanent with that 28 million signing from Chelsea. So it's not been a great first full campaign as a full Everton player, but we've talked about it many times. He is still very young. His goal record for what age he is superb. One of the best in Europe in the last sort of 10 years or so. So definitely give him a lot of time, and like you say, I think they should do better next season. I think that if they don't get more points next season than they've achieved this season, it'd be a real failure on sort of Martinez's and the team's part, because you look at their sort of 1 to 11 when they put their strongest side out. I really like Everton's team, and I mean we look at sort of the young players they've got. I mentioned Lukaku, obviously Barkley as well, and then John Stones at the back. John Stones included in the we talked about Kane being in the under 21 squad. Stones is in there as well, and I think Stones excellent player at the back, and if he can have a great tournament out in the Czech Republic, that's certainly will there be a lot of interest in him this summer. There'll certainly be sort of I reckon inquiries about maybe the likes of Barkley and Stones, and if Stones can have a great tournament, he's had a pretty impressive season at the back as well, and they certainly won't want to lose him. They won't want to lose their really good young core, and if they can keep the bulk of their players, they should really improve next season.
Yeah, should they've got a decent squad there, and then like I say, if they lose this game now, they could finish at low 12th. So I think finishing 12th would be really disappointing for Everton. Like I said, how good they were last season. It's a strange game in many ways because Spurs is the will to win it really going to be there. It remains to be seen. But two decent teams, you think it'll be a good game, which is called prediction.
Yeah, I think there's more there for Everton. Wanting to get that top half finish for them, and I think especially as they're at home, like I say, Spurs. You wonder if they're that fussed about because they can finish fifth if results go their way on the final day of the season. But you wonder if they are that bothered about it. Maybe they will want to drop to seventh and hope that Villa win the FA Cup final if they don't get Europa League. But I think there's more here for Everton, so I don't think I'm going to pick them to win 3-1.
3-1. Yeah, I'm actually going to go over 2 goals separation as well. I think Spurs' season's petering out a little bit, isn't it? So I'm actually going to go 2-0 Everton. So we can both see fairly comfortable Everton wins in this one. Thanks for joining us.